everyone, and welcome to the Hardcore Human Design Podcast. I'm Miko, and on the other side of the world, we have Celestina.
Hola.
Today, we're going to be talking about the third part of the role gates, and we're focusing on the tribal aspects of the role gates, which means how do you bond tribally? This can be taken in the personal sense, but as well in a business or work environment where you look at the bonding strategies that work best for you in both of these scenarios. And what I mean by work best for you, it means that this is what's going to fall into place once you are actually following your strategy and in your authority. So everything that we talk about here, and I know we mention it every time, but I feel like it's an important part. It's going to fall into place. It's not something that you can decide or figure out with the mind. It's something that needs to happen naturally from within you. Today, we're going to be looking at gate 59, gate 27, and then we're also going to look at the other side of these gates, which creates the full channel. We have gate 6 on the other side of gate 59, and we have gate 50 on the other side of gate 27. The role gates in this tribal aspect are gate 59 and gate 27. So just not to confuse you guys, we're going to first stick to that. If you haven't listened to our last episodes, please do check them out because you're going to get far more information on how you're going to be able to even identify which bonding type you are, and that is connected to your profile. You're also going to uncover far more regarding your collective aspects and your individual unique potential within you if you listen to the other two episodes, so we highly recommend you do that. And now let's dive into what that all means for the bonding strategies. So in these tribal aspects, we have the intimacy dynamic, which is connected to the gate 59 and gate 6. And this is going to tell you how you approach emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy can be in private life, it can also be in business life, so it doesn't mean just romantic. The gate 59 is connected to the role that you are associated with, and gate 6 is your emotional expression. So we have gate 59 and gate 6 that create this channel. And that is, on one hand, the role that is associated with how you approach people. It's how you take things in, actually. And on the other hand, gate 6 is going to be your emotional expression. On the other hand, we have gate 27 and gate 50, which create the other channel. And gate 27 is going to show you how you express the intimacy side of things. So this is going to make more sense once we are actually going through gate 27 and gate 59, where you're going to understand what that means, taking in and giving out. And on the other side of this channel, we have gate 50, which is about an instinctual awareness. So this really is about the values you provide. So we have these two channels. It's called the defense circuitry. Gate 59 and 6 are about creating things. So it is a very fertile channel. It is about how you can either be fertile sexually, so creating children, for example, but it can also be creating projects. So bringing things to life. This is what gate 59 and gate 6 are about. Whereas the other side of this defense circuitry, gate 27 and gate 50, that is about how you move this creation forward. How do you keep it safe? How do you provide it with the right values to make sure it's going to survive on its own? That's the two channels, what it's about. We have on the gate 59 and 6 side, gate 6 as the root of the tribal wave, or of all emotional waves, actually. So it is a very, very, very interesting gate where, when that is defined, it takes over a lot of the emotional aspects because it has all three emotional waves integrated in it. So it's known as the root of all emotional waves. And when that is defined in a chart, you can break down walls. You can break down people's walls, but you're also very selective as to who you let break down your own walls. And it can feel and seem like a very, very strong energy. So people may feel threatened by you when you walk into a room because they know instinctually that you can break down their walls. And if you do have this full channel, just be very mindful who you sleep with and who you sleep without a condom with, because it is a very fertile channel. So it always depends on where it is situated in your chart, but just be mindful that you could get pregnant very easily. That's the disclaimer for this episode. Now let's dive into the actual roles. What does that mean in gate 59, taking in internalization of your role? And what does it mean with gate 27, the externalization of this role?
I like how the takeaway from this episode so far is wrap it before you tap it if you have the full line. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the most important advices we're going to give on this show.
Very good. Didn't expect that from us today, did you guys? You're welcome. Okay, so we're back at this. This and that, yin and yang of each of the gates. Gate 58, the internalization and taking in. So please keep that in mind when we are discussing this gate, and keep in mind your lines specifically when we're going through each of these as well. So line 1 of 59 is called the Penetrator. Get your mind out the gutter. I know what you guys are thinking. So anyway, we're going to go through this.
This is not yet the sex episode, just so you know. The next episode, if you were interested in knowing about this, we're going to be, let's talk about sex, baby. I couldn't resist. I mean, we're going to do it again, probably in the next episode, but yeah, that's not the one.
Okay, so starting with line 1 of gate 59, this line is called the Penetrator. Remember how typically I'm like, I don't love the verbiage that human design uses? Well, in this instance, it is fantastic. Line 1 is called the Penetrator. And yeah, get your mind out the gutter, but also kind of keep it there, because the person with this line is going to go deeper into others than anyone else. And yes, that can sound dirty. However, think of it from an energy perspective. What are you bringing out in someone else? How are you digging deeper into what makes them them, or helping them find those answers out, right? So consider it from that perspective when you're thinking line 1 Penetrator. Can't stop saying it. This person will also kind of watch and observe and see what's right for others and see if it's right for them. They're going to observe others and then take it in, put it through that internal filter and be like, is it also right for me? So let's bring all of this back into what a one line does as a whole. Going deep into the research, having that really solid basis and foundation of information before they are committing to something more, before they can share that knowledge. Think of that through this perspective as well. Before you're able to go deeper with someone else, you have to have all of that information. But the Penetrator allows you to get that information from the other so that you can have that solid foundation, so that you can take that next step. And having that solidification is really what helps you take that person in fully. Line 2, the loner. Think of it as the typical line 2, right? Like, yes, super hermit mode, but the loner projects the don't bother me energy. Like, just, I don't really want to be dealt with right now. Think of it as like having some walls up, having those barriers and blocking yourself off from most people. However, when someone breaks through those walls, that person, the 2 line, the loner, is going to embrace them with open arms. So really, they're not the loner. They're just being extremely selective and waiting for that right person to break through that barrier or to see them in the house. Thinking about the lower trigram, right? Someone can see you in the house, but are they going to break the window to come in and let themselves in? Probably not. At least not everyone's going to do that. But for the 1 or 5 people in your world who are going to do that, you are going to have a really deep connection to them, with them. The 3rd line, the adventurer, seeking different and exotic connections. Think of the third line as a whole. Third lines are here to do things differently, to learn by trial and error, to learn from quote unquote mistakes, and to kind of share that information with others. So making and breaking bonds is a really healthy thing for the adventurer, the third line, because you're experiencing different people's energies. You're experiencing how you are with them. And if you like that, awesome. That's a great learning experience. If you don't like how you are, or if that other person, that other energy is bringing out something negative or something that you don't like in yourself, amazing. That's a learning experience. You don't have to stay with them. So making and breaking those bonds is actually really healthy for the third line adventurer. The other important piece to note for a third line is that there may be big swing shifts in relationships. There may be like, this person is this way, and then swing to a different relationship and the person is completely different. There may potentially be a large diversity in the relationships that this person builds and brings into their world. Again, it's all about the trial and error piece and experimenting. So keep that in mind, adventurers. Ooh, I like that. I wish we can call you guys adventurers, like everyone, just like, like how people like call their podcast people things. I like adventurers. Anyway, Miko, you had some more info on this, so if you could if you could continue us in the theme park, that'd be fantastic.
So yeah, the third line, the way that Ra describes it is very funny, because he says that this very rigid, which party is very maybe prone to just believe in one caste selection, or not wanting to be very diverse, not believing in LGBTQ and stuff like that. Which type is it? The Republican or the Democratic?
Conservative.
The conservatives. Okay, yeah. That's So he describes it in a way that a conservative person has these very, very strong beliefs, but then they may just shift and have an affair with someone that is black. And so a white person, which has this very strict beliefs, but then they will swing and have an affair with someone that is very, very, very different to what they actually believe in. And it doesn't mean that everyone that is conservative has challenges with black people or things like this. I'm not very versed in the political thing, but I'm just trying to understand what I'm saying here, in the sense that even if you have very, very strong beliefs in something, a third line can go and do the complete opposite, because this is what your body is trying to get. And so if this is in your design side profile, or even if you have the 59 defined in the third line in your design, this is what your body is going to try to push you towards, into expanding your gene pool into a very, very, very different side than you are, and that your mind may even believe in. So this is something that is very interesting with the third line, that they may say and believe one thing and do a completely different thing. That's what I found very interesting with the third line, just because they want to continue the genetic pool in a diverse way.
Subconsciously.
So it can just be a bodily pull, because this is genetics. We're talking genetics in gate 59 here. We're talking about reproduction here. What are you taking in? We're not talking about your values or your morals in this case. And I found this very interesting, that the third line can be like this. And I swear, if someone has such strong beliefs, do you know what a mind chaos that creates? If you believe one thing, if your mind says, hey, we need to do this, we need to believe this, and then at some point you just turn around and do something completely different because your genes are like, yeah, we need to do that. So yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And this is so helpful when you know this consciously about your human design. It's not that you're going to act it out consciously. It's not that you can do anything about it really, but you may cut yourself more slack if this is what your mind tries to tell you on one hand and what you actually end up doing. And this shouldn't be used as an excuse either, okay? Just letting you know. But it is something that it helps to understand yourself and to also understand others and be more liberal towards yourself and towards others, in my opinion. So now let's move to line 4, the companion. These are people that take people in by bonding with them. So friendships are super, super important for these individuals. And you're only really going to let people in that you consider your friends. So if you haven't built a solid friendship foundation with someone, you're not going to be able to create a deep physical intimacy as either. Because this is the foundation. This is what you need to feel safe. This is what you need to feel connected. And this is what you need to open up to others. So just consider that if you do have a 4th line in your profile, that you need companionship to be able to open up. I read a post yesterday about someone that was SA'd, and they were sharing how they've done a lot of healing, but it's still kind of, as soon as someone is trying to get close to them, or as soon as someone starts to talk about sex with them, they start to shut down. And I was wondering that maybe there isn't enough of a friendship basis. There isn't enough of trust in this whole process. So yes, I think even when you do a lot of work, if you're then opening up to the wrong type of person, if you're not following your strategy, if you're not following your inner authority to make these decisions in the first place, then I think, or I had a feeling that she was just blocking, because not necessarily because she hasn't healed from the trauma or because she hasn't done enough work, but because she's opening up to the wrong people. So what we're sharing here today is really, really helpful for you to just understand what is important for you to feel more comfortable to open up. So yeah, it's when we're going through these lines, just consider that and try to look back at your relationships, maybe in personal and in business life. When did you feel safest with someone? When did you feel most comfortable? And does that align with your profile lines? And how could you have felt safer considering what we're sharing here today with you? So the 5th line is the seducer. I had a lot of experience with 5th lines in business and personal life, and I do feel like this is a big theme. So if you are not a 5th line, I feel like this may be a challenge to be with a partner that is a 5th line, because they are very seducing without necessarily wanting to be that. So they just radiate that from within. And this is how they call out intimacy from others, by seducing others in a flirtatious way, but they often don't know that they're doing it. And this is really an important process for them, the seduction process, where you're kind of flirtatious, seductive, but you're not really ending up in a serious commitment right away. You're really enjoying this building up process. And by doing that, you're creating this access that would otherwise not be available. And this then creates the foundation for a good and solid relationship. When you have had this kind of play of back and forth, seducer, seduced kind of situation, and when you're really getting to know more and more about the person through this process, this is when you will then feel safest or best in the relationship, business or personal. So even in business, you would still kind of play this seducer, seduced role, or kind of tease them to, yes, I want this business deal, no, I don't, and kind of go back and forth a little bit until you figure out what are the right terms, what are the right conditions, what are the right, did I enjoy this game, this cat and mouse game, kind of. So yeah, this is an important part for the 5th line. The 6th line is about, it's called the dreamer. And that is really about trying to find your soulmate, trying to find the person that you want to be with for the rest of your life. And it does have, so the interesting thing about the 6th line is that it does have the first 30 years of this adventurer phase. And then it goes up on the roof, and then it comes back down the roof after the age of 50. But the real dreamer kind of phase starts to set in after your Saturn return, your first Saturn return. And it becomes even more important or more deep the older you get. So that's when, after your Chiron return, you feel like you may be able to find your soulmate more easily. So it's really us as six lines. How do you feel about that? So the sixth line has a tendency to either, we talked about this in the other episode, where it has a tendency to also go into the one night stand aspect. And this probably is more of the first 30 years process. But I do feel like I've always had this thought that there is someone out there who perfectly aligns with me and who I do see as a soulmate. Yes, Celestina.
Do you now?
Yes. Well, I'm also very sure that I have found this person recently. That's why she's making these faces. Yes. So the story is very out of the ordinary. But it is, yeah, I know that I have found him now. And it feels so good to be with another six line as well, who understands this desire and who really was looking for the soulmate connection.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't do the 6 line thing correctly at all. Like, you like really took the time to find yourself your first 30 years, and you're like, yeah, now I'm ready. I'm on the roof. Send me someone, universe. And you have the opposite of the person who was not the adventurer, who married her college sweetheart, like, who's also a 6 line, which is so weird. But yeah, I think I've said this on here before, but I'm pretty sure David and I have been connected in past lives. I'm like pretty sure. Like, I'll do a past life regression in the coming weeks, months maybe, but like pretty sure. So yeah, I feel like when you know, and I knew at like 19 maybe. So yeah.
And it is, I'm not trying to promote being with the same profile type here, but I do feel it. What? No, you're not either.
I said, yeah, I don't know. It just happened, right? Yeah. Didn't mean to be with a 6-2.
No. So we're now both in a relationship with a 6-2 line. We are both 6-2s as well in business and friendship. So it's just, you really understand the other person so much better when they share the same profile with you, because there are less resistances or less misunderstandings. I feel like you want a lot of the same, or you need a lot of the same things, whether it's sexual, emotional, in business. I feel like it really aligns very well. And we both know, like for us two, for example, we respect our second line as well. We know that the other person needs space. I mean, this also comes along with the inner authority that we share. But we do know, okay, hey, this person really needs a break, and we give it to each other. And we're not forcing us to record. We're not forcing ourselves to record when we feel, okay, we can't continue. We just need to hermit. We need to break. And on the other side, we also have this 6-line perspective from on the roof, or just also understanding the pressure I feel that comes with being a 6-line, of wanting to be perfect in a lot of ways. We want this perfectionism because we want to be able to provide the right type of information. We want to be the role model type, which kind of sets in after the age of 50. But I do feel like there is a certain type of pressure underneath that as well. So understanding all of that about your partner, or your romantic partner, your business partners, is super helpful.
Fantastic. And that was 59 in a nutshell. A long nutshell, but a nutshell nonetheless.
Yeah, now let's talk about how we give out. out, how we externalize all of that. So gate 27 is how we offer ourselves to others and how we support others. And we have as the first line, it's called the selfish. And that should not be misunderstood here, guys, because the selfish is basically needs to fill their own cups first before it can give to others. This is super, super important for the first line. So if you are a first line profile, or if you have gate 27 defined by, and it is in your first line, make sure that you fill your own cups first before you give to others, because this is going to provide you with a sense of security, a foundation that feels good, and it is a healthy form of using your ego. It is a healthy form of being selfish, because you can't give from an empty cup. You can't provide for others in a healthy way from an empty cup. And what I mean by that, because a lot of people, they don't really understand this analogy, but the way I like to describe it is if you are filling up your cup with self-care and self-love rituals. So when you're meditating, when you're doing yoga, when you're running yourself a bubble bath and just taking a break from all the family dynamics around you, when you are just stepping out into nature for some time, there are so many things that you can do to fill your cup. Also giving back to others, so doing charity work, for example, is also a way to fill your cup, because I feel like it fills people when they're doing something good for others, and when they also receive the appreciation back for their actions. So filling up your cup, you can imagine that as when you are doing all of these rituals, and it doesn't have to take a long time, but when you're really taking some space and time for yourself, you can fill your cup with love that you give to yourself. And when that cup overflows, this is when you can really give to others, because you have already filled yourself up with that love, and then you can give the love to others as well. If your cup is nearly empty and you feel like you're running on fumes, what happens is that you may want to be there for others. You may want to provide for others, but if you haven't taken care of your own foundation, you're basically standing on quicksand. And the more that you want to move and do things for others, the deeper you will sink into that quicksand. And at some point, you're going to suffocate. So you really need to collect this self-love for yourself. And you can take that as just collecting the wood to put onto the quicksand so that you don't drown. And then give, then you can move, then you can give, then you can take care of others. This is a very important lesson for everyone, but especially for the first line, because if you don't have love in your cup, you're going to be more reactive, you're going to be more emotional, you're going to be less patient, and that's not going to help anyone around you. So it's not selfish. It's a healthy form of being selfish, but to the benefit of others as well. When you're taking care of yourself, you're going to benefit everyone around you, because you're just going to be more calm, more balanced, more loving, more giving, more caring. That was a very long-winded first line description, but it's my passion to help people to love themselves. This is like my job. Let's go to the giver and the driver very quickly. No. The giver, the second line, has a tendency to give. So you have to be very mindful of this. And I'm sure that you can see this in your relationship as well with David, where there is this, you really need to be mindful of knowing your boundaries when giving, because they have a tendency to give way too much at some point. So you need to really understand, hey, okay, this is what I can give, and this is going beyond what I can give. So again, kind of going back to self-love, knowing where your limits are, boundary setting is super important. And also boundaries in who you let in the first place, because that's kind of going back to gate 59. Be mindful of who you let in, because once they're in, you will want to give, give, give. And you need to find a balance here. Don't deplete yourself through giving, but it also gives you joy. So know when giving gives you joy. I feel like this is a good way to navigate this. Where do you feel joy when giving? And where do you feel like this is not the right direction to go into? And for me, it would be bitterness as a projector. Like, where do you feel bitter about giving? And where do you feel anger, maybe as a manifestor, about giving? As a
Marie Kondo it, I feel like, is what you're saying. Marie Kondo this gate. Yep. Where do you feel joy?
Exactly. Yes. Where do you feel joy when giving? Just be mindful who breaks down your walls and who you want to give to. And then be mindful of how much you want to give. So think about your boundaries. That's what I would recommend the second line doing. The third line is the driver. So this can be a bit confusing, but the third line really is about, hey, I see your potential and I want you to achieve. So I'm going to help you drive yourself into the right direction. So they are the motivators, the ones that say, hey, yeah, let's go. I want to support you. I want you to move forward. It can feel a bit obsessive, but they just want what is best for you. So that's why they try to bring out what is inside of you, and they try to help you drive into that direction. That's what the driver is about. So I feel like this kind of highlights the third line. I know that was a very short one. But I feel like this is the most important aspect, that the driver really wants you to go achieve your dreams, go achieve your highest potential.
All right. On to the fourth line then, the magnanimous. I feel like I chose the fourth, fifth, and sixth because these are really fun words to say. So thank you for giving me these. So exciting.
Of course.
So the magnanimous. The 4 line just wants to give to their network, to the people who are in their world. So this grandiose show of generosity, we're talking about tribal, right? So like those who are in their tribe, and it feels like it's more than friends coming from a very, very, very tribal individual. The tribe is more than friends. It's the people that you will go to bat for, that you will just like almost take a bullet for. Like, these are your people. So showing this grand generosity to the people that you feel like that too. And for me, it's just this giant heart pull. I don't know how it feels to non-ego, non-tribal beings, but it just feels like the Care Bear on steroids. Think about it as giving advantages or helping other people in your world level up, giving them that step up, and not for it to take away from you, but like if it's something that'll really, really, really help them, you're doing it. You're going above and beyond for them. And you're doing this even when something isn't given in return. Like, this isn't an exchange. This is like, you will do it if you feel like it's right for this person in your world and your tribe. And there is potential for like really deep universal generosity in this line 4. But again, coming back to it, this person needs to be in your tribe for you to really feel that way, or to be adjacent to your tribe, right? Like if someone else vouches for this person, you're like, oh, cool. You're tribe adjacent. Awesome. Let's go. You know, I think that's a really cool one. Line 5, the executor. Or the executor. No, it's the executor. That's a fun one, though. So with the line 5s, this person is taking complete responsibility for someone else's well-being. If you recall, the line 5 in gate 59 is the seducer, right? So calling out that intimacy for others. But here, they're taking that responsibility for others' well-being. So they feel responsible for others' needs. Going back to the name of this line, right? The executor. Think about the executor of a will, for example. This person is in charge of organizing those resources rather than giving them directly. They're compiling the list of the resources that they have, or they're compiling the resources that they have and then giving out to those who if they've been directed to or who need those resources. It's also important to note, though, that there may be some suspicion about one's motives when they're doing this. So keep that in mind. If you are the 5 line, why are you doing this? Is this person in your tribe? And are you doing this out of the need of feeling responsibility? Are you burdening yourself with this responsibility versus is this something that this person actually needs? And is this something that you actually want to do and give to this person? So please keep that in mind when you're going through all of this as well. And last but not least, the 6th line, the realist. Knowing who realistically deserves your support is key for the 6th line. You're going to go through these different phases, right? You're going to go through the driven phase that Miko said about the 3rd line. You're going to push others to succeed, excel, do their best. And then you're the realist. You're stepping back and you're like, does everyone need this push? Do I really need to help everyone? Oh my God, was that the shift that I felt in my 30s? I've had 2 aha moments back to back in these episodes. Dude. Oh my God. Okay, well, there you go. That's real life. Yeah, not everyone needs your help. You don't have to help everyone. And you become a little bit more picky with who you put your energy into. This is meta again.
Who you consider your tribe.
Yeah. Actually, though, dude, I have so much less bullshit tolerance for people now. My bullshit tolerance is real low. I feel like that's the boundary that I've put up in my 30s. Anyway, you learn who can be supported, who genuinely wants to be supported, and if you're putting your time and energy into that, you want to be working with someone or you want to be investing your time with someone who actually wants it. There's really good potential for long-term profound relationships post-Chiron return if you are leaning into this as well.
Yeah, this is the thing, the pickiness to really be mindful who you let in and who you accept into your tribe. And then I feel as well the relationships I have are, interestingly enough, I haven't seen them very often in person, like you. We haven't seen each other very often in person, but I have quite a few people in my life by now that I haven't seen much in person, but I have a very, very, very strong connection with. And I also cannot tolerate having anyone around that doesn't align with certain values. Very interesting.
This is better than therapy, guys, let me tell you. Just come on here, have random insights for your 6th line, and you're just like, oh my God, the whole world is new.
Quickly go back to gate 59 in connection with gate 6, because I feel like this is an important part of this whole connections, the emotional bonding strategy. When it comes to gate 59 and gate 6, so you have in line 1 the pursuer/pursued. So on the other side, on the gate 6 side, the emotional connection, it is about weakness and strength. So I'm just going to go through the bullet points for gate line 1 and until 3, and then Celestina is going to take over, and we're just going to connect them high level wise, because I think people can really connect with it by just understanding what the emotional side of this gate 59 and gate 6 are in connection. Pursuer pursued, we talked about this in gate 59 as the penetrator. So go back to listen to it once more if you don't remember what that is about. In the second part, we talked about these role gates, the profile gates as well, pursuer pursued, which is connected to this caveman attitude. So please also go back to that episode if you don't remember what that was about. So we have the first line in gate 6, which is weakness and strength. You need to either be in a less dominant position if you are the pursued individual, or you need to have a more dominant position, which is strength, if you're the pursuer. Gate 59, line 2 was about the shyness and boldness of line 2, the loner. So the loner will decide whether to be shy or bold in certain situations. And that is connected on the other side with gate 6, line 2, advance and withdraw. So I feel like, as I said, it's very understandable why these two interplay with one another. Shyness, boldness, advance, withdrawal. That's what shyness and boldness is about. You will withdraw in shyness mode and you would be advancing in boldness mode. In line 3 of gate 6, we have the wave of allegiance and rejection. On the other side, in gate 59, bonds made and broken / the adventurer. So these also, again, connect with one another. You need to have allegiance. You need to either feel like you want to reject someone or attract someone, bring them in, or make or break bonds with someone. Although when I was first reading that, I felt like, this sounds more like a fourth line thing. I feel like, to me, allegiance, rejection would fit better with a fourth line because it's more about this networking space. But that's just how it is. So let's not try to change all the verbiage in human design. And I'm going to hand over the mic to you.
Very good. Okay, so for gate 59, the role of the confident or not, the brotherhood / sisterhood, if you will. The opposing side of that is the sixth gate is the wave of kindness and meanness. And this all goes into under the same umbrella as the companion. Taking others in as friends and being confident in that or not, and then showing kindness or meanness in all of this within your tribe, within the network that you have, as well as that 4 line. Building that brotherhood, building that sisterhood. Line 5 of gate 59 is the role of the seducer and or seduced, the femme fatale, the Casanova. And its opposing side on the 6th gate is selfish or selflessness. And this is all within the seducer. The role of that seducer was to call out intimacy from others and building up energy through that seduction process. So that totally makes sense for the role of the femme fatale or the Casanova, for that matter. But then the opposite side of that, having selfishness, having selflessness within that role as well. And last but not least, the 6th line of the 59, the role of the soulmate or not, the one night stand. And the 6th line of the 6th gate is sympathy versus apathy. Caring / not caring. And this being connected to the dreamer, the one who wants that perfect life, that perfect connection with someone else on the other side, that ultimate relationship.
I really feel this sympathy-apathy thing. I think apathy may be too strong of a word. It's more like I feel neutral. I'm like,
yeah,
either I really care or I'm like, I'm neutral.
Yeah, I feel like there's no hate, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like apathy, you're right, is a very strong word. It's like, I really don't give a shit if I feel apathetic towards something.
Yeah.
But yeah, either I really, really care or not my problem.
Exactly. Do what you want to do. And I also, what I find a bit confusing sometimes with human design is that, for example, the 5th line, selfless, selfish, it can be kind of confusing when you then look at the selfish in the 1st line of gate 27. That can be a bit confusing, but putting it together, you will get it if you just take some time for yourself to sit with it and understand how that works for you. And yeah, maybe journal about it. Yeah, I love this episode. I can't wait for our sexy talk episode next time. And how many times we can crack up Celestina with penetration and whatever else may come our way.
So fun. Alrighty, guys. On that note, thanks for listening. See you next week. Ciao.
Bye, everyone. Hardcore, the Human Design Podcast. bloopers. I have a frog in my throat.
Oh, ribbit.
Okay, are we ready?
Been ready.
What's this?
Bro, preaching to the choir of crazy curls. Hello, everyone. This is Human Design Podcast.
Hardcore.
It's not the one, but the verbiage here. You know how I normally say the verbiage in Human Design is just ugh. The verbiage in this is fantastic. So let's roll with it, guys. Line 1, the Penetrator. Can't make this up. This is someone who goes deeper into others. God damn it. I can't get through this.
This is not the sex episode yet.
Not, I know.
How are you gonna handle that one?
Okay. Okay. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so seriously. God damn it.
We haven't shared the screen.
Oh no, we should probably do that. There we go. Then I can take it more seriously.
I really need to pee.
Okay. Do you want to push this out real quick, or do you want to go push the pee out real quick?
No, we can do this. We can do this.
Okay. Sehr gut. You go.
Better not put that in the bloopers. Can't say anything on here.